Emotional abuse isn't always obvious. It doesn't begin with shouting or hitting. It begins with small things, so subtle they almost seem harmless. A comment disguised as concern, a soft criticism that makes you doubt yourself, a look that makes you uncomfortable but you don't know why. That's how the cycle of abuse builds itself. Slowly, quietly, while you get used to a kind of love that hurts. At first, it feels like affection. They ask who you're talking to and say it's only because they love you. They ask you to change something about yourself for your own good. They make you feel like they're the only one who truly understands you. And you believe it, because everyone wants to feel loved, seen, and important to someone. And they know that. They use it. The cycle of emotional abuse doesn't begin with violence, it begins with admiration. They put you on a pedestal. They tell you you're special, that no one has ever made them feel this way. And you let your guard down because you think you finally found someone who values you. But that admiration doesn't last long. What comes next is devaluation. Suddenly, nothing you do is good enough. They criticize you, compare you, make you feel like you're failing. The things they once loved about you now bother them. They tell you you've changed, that you're the one causing arguments, that you're too sensitive, that you take everything personally. And instead of defending yourself, you justify them. You try to be more patient, more loving, more understanding. You start believing that the problem is you. And just like that, you're already inside the cycle. Because when you finally get tired and try to leave, the reconciliation phase begins. The apologies, the promises, the "I'll change." They remind you of the good moments, cry, make you feel guilty for even thinking of leaving. They convince you that this time will be different. And you believe it, because the heart wants to believe. But soon, everything repeats again. The same pattern, the same fear, the same feeling of walking on glass. Emotional abuse doesn't just break you, it confuses you. It makes you doubt your memory, your perception, your emotions. It makes you think you're exaggerating, imagining, overreacting. And eventually, you end up apologizing to the person who hurt you. That's the power of gaslighting, to make you believe you can't even trust yourself. People often say, if it hurts, just leave. But leaving isn't that simple, because when you've lived under constant manipulation, your mind starts to adapt. You convince yourself that love requires sacrifice, that enduring pain is proof of commitment. You fear losing the little good that's left, fear being alone, fear starting over. That's how emotional abuse traps you, without bars, using your own love as the chain. This kind of abuse is treacherous. It leaves no visible scars. From the outside, people see a normal couple, a perfect family. No one imagines that behind that smile, there's fear, that behind that calm, there's anxiety. Emotional violence hides well because it disguises itself as love. But love doesn't hurt. Love doesn't make you doubt your worth. Love doesn't demand that you disappear so someone else can shine. Sometimes abuse begins so slowly that you don't realize it until you're already broken. When you find yourself thinking twice before speaking, measuring every gesture, not recognizing your own voice anymore, that's when you know the cycle has trapped you. But it's not too late. It's never too late. Breaking the cycle begins with one truth. You are not the problem. You're not weak, you're not too emotional, you're not hard to love. What you've experienced wasn't love, it was manipulation. And admitting that hurts, but it also frees you. Because abuse feeds on silence and guilt. When you name what's happening, when you speak it out loud, the cycle starts to lose its power. Leaving doesn't always mean walking out right away. Sometimes it means disconnecting emotionally first, stopping the justifications, beginning to believe that you deserve something different. Sometimes leaving begins as a quiet thought in your head that says, "This isn't right." And even if it feels small, that's where freedom begins. Most abusers don't change, but you can. You can heal. You can trust again. You can love again in a healthy way. But first, you must choose yourself. You have to stop letting someone else define your worth. You have to rebuild slowly, with patience, with kindness, with truth. Emotional abuse isn't linear. Some days you'll feel strong. Others you'll miss even what once hurt you. Don't blame yourself for that. Trauma creates bonds that confuse love with dependence. It's normal to struggle. It's normal to hurt. But every time you choose not to go back, every time you say no more, you break another piece of the cycle. Silence was once your way to survive, but now your voice will be your way to heal. You don't need to shout your story to the world. It's enough to tell it to yourself without fear. It's enough to stop minimizing what you lived through. It's enough to accept that you deserve love without pain. Emotional abuse begins quietly, but it also ends quietly. It ends the moment you choose peace over habit, the moment you choose calm over apology, the moment you realize that loving someone doesn't mean losing yourself. And one day, when you finally breathe without fear, when you sleep through the night, when you look back and it doesn't hurt as much, you'll understand something powerful. You didn't lose love. You lost control disguised as love. And you gained something that no one can ever take away again: your emotional freedom.